Hey everybody, it's Friday, the 17th of September 2021. My name is still Kevin Murcko as far as I know. I'm still the CEO of CoinMetro, and this is our weekly AMA. If this is your first time joining one of our AMAs, we like to make them a bit unique. By the way, AMA stands for Ask Me Anything. So you ask a question, I answer it. I think up to this point, there might have been a few questions I haven't answered over the course of 2 years or 3 years or however long it's been. But most of the time I get an answer. Hopefully it's accurate. Hopefully. So we're just going to jump right into it. Got my first question. And our gold medal recipient for being first inside the actual chat. So right away, that's awesome. Any news on IQ protocol on CM? No news. Haven't chatted with the Parsec team as of yet. I think they're still off in Spain, actually. Not the whole team, but at least some of the team. So no, haven't had a chance to do that. Will though, when I do, I will report back. But no new news. Plus, on the biz dev side, we're kind of picking our battles until the end of the year. So even if we did get back, to schedule it, get it done, would probably be priority Q1, Q2 next year, not necessarily Q4 this year. Hey, Harold. Hey, Rabab 2K. Right. Hey Harold, how are you? Try cryptos? I have. Thank you. Moni Kavi. Hey Moni. Hey Kevin, is there a plan for staking THT? There is I wouldn't call it a plan yet. There is absolutely the idea that we want to get nodes and master, I think they're master nodes on THT, as part of our offering. We don't yet have it scheduled. It's definitely not in here for Q4. I think it may end up falling somewhere Q2 next year, maybe, depending on how we make progression on some other things. We have a lot of really high-level, massive projects that, again, you're not going to be able to see or feel really for months, if not into maybe in the middle of next year, as far as on the front end goes, but they are massive and they're going to make big changes with how CoinMetro operates. And so we can scale faster and all that cool stuff in the future. Where's Bjorn? I don't know. Actually, I haven't seen Bjorn. I think he's in Telegram for sure. Maybe he just got tired of hearing my voice on all those voice messages and said, I'm not going to join this AMA. I don't know. Oh, unban me, please. Didn't know you were banned. Don't even know why you were banned because, well, I guess that information doesn't really disseminate to me all the time. But make sure you make me a contact in Telegram. I'll do the same. I'll find out what happened, and I'll unban you if it's just. Let's start there. What are your thoughts on the Evergrande situation? The Evergrande situation. I have no idea what that is, actually. I just mentioned, I almost have never not answered a question. I don't know what that is, actually, Evergrande. I have no idea. But narcissistic couple, it's a cool name, by the way. Please give me some more information, and I'll give you an opinion for sure. Maybe I do know what it is, but I just, sometimes things have different names floating around on the internet and, real world situations. So I don't know. Evergrande doesn't ring a bell. When will you add sub accounts for saving accounts? That's going to happen more than likely when we launch our Challenger Bank solutions. That's going to be under the digital fiat brand, but integrated into the CoinMetro app as well as the web app. I think we're going to start to see more progress on that front Q2, Q3 next year. It's a big project that we can't really do it yet because to do it, first we have to amend our terms of service. Second, those are custodial accounts, and custodial accounts definitely fall under different licensing than crypto licensing. So there's a few things that need to happen, and we're already doing those things, and not necessarily just for this. But we have talked about this before. With the Challenger Bank app, like most Challenger Bank apps, they're going to have, buckets, wallets, vaults, whatever, where people can save money, move money, etc. We plan to do something very similar, and that will include custodial accounts for children. Or, my kids' college fund, my kids, I don't know, buying a new snowsuit fund. I don't know, whatever. Hey, Kevin, my favorite CEO. Hey, Soup, or So Up. Is it So Up? Is that why the first two? Or is it like Southern Ontario University for Penguins? I don't know what the hell that stands for. I don't know. Just, what is it? Soup, So Up? I'd like to pronounce it correctly. I'm trying. I'm a very bad name pronouncer. But you can't be great at everything. Come on. I mean, no. I'd give up name pronouncing for something else. Anyway, BizDev news. Hey Bjorn, so BizDev news. As I said in the last AMA, and I think the AMA before that, BizDev is going to slow down a bit before it speeds up next year. We want to make sure, as we've seen this influx of new clients, and we haven't been able to maintain our response in minutes and our onboarding within minutes, because we simply have been expanding the team at the same time, and people are training, and that slows things down before it speeds things up. What we want to do is make sure that when we go to that next growth spurt, when it's not 1,000 or 2,000 clients a day, it's 20,000 clients a day, that even though we're hiring and even though we're continuing to expand, we don't hit these same roadblocks. And there's other things too that we also have spotted within the organization that we need to streamline to reduce the workload on finance operations and back office and compliance and et cetera, et cetera. So all those things are being looked at now. That's a major project. It's probably going to last 2 or 3 years, to be honest, and probably will ever be ongoing. But the real push for that is going to be in the last few months of this year, and then really start to, like I said, focus on, okay, now we're ready for any amount of growth. Let's do this in 2022. So BizDev, the one BizDev that I'm trying to keep in touch with and pick up are those cannabis tokens. Still haven't been able to get a call. Again, we're on different parts of the world. We're both busy. I'm going to try this weekend again to reach out so that we can schedule something for next week, hopefully. I will be in Money 2020 next week, so I won't be in the office 4 out of the 5 days next week. Money 2020 should be good. Usually I don't go to events I don't speak at because, I just don't want to be honest. But Money 2020 is a massive event. Pretty much every bank, every supplier we have, for whether that be banks, banking type institutions, PSPs, EMIs, et cetera, they're all there. And I need to renegotiate some rates, and I need to make some new relationships. So I think it's going to be a good time. So BizDev. So yeah, no real new bit. I guess the BizDev news is we are thinking about how we're going to focus on BizDev next year, which means hiring, action business analysts, which we already have one doing a great job. And then we also though need to hire like a BizDev team. We need people that can actually focus on those things. We have lots of BizDev in the pipeline, and we've mentioned a lot of that stuff here on the AMAs over the past months, but we do have a lot in the pipeline. I mean, a lot. There's probably 30 different BizDev opportunities, from additional BizDev opportunities with KDA, with Quant, with Flux, even with Hathor. There's different BizDev opportunities there that we've had to kind of sideline a little bit. There's BizDev opportunities with other assets that we plan to list. There's BizDev opportunities from companies that want to tokenize utility or otherwise. There's BizDev opportunities on the Invest platform. There's BizDev opportunities all over the place, as well as our own B2B services, KYC for individuals, for companies, swap widget as a service. All that stuff is all, let's say, sitting and waiting to be pushed into the pipeline. And currently kind of we're prioritizing. But right now we have another month or so, I think, where we're going to be prioritizing tasks while we're doing time. We're not going to stop doing anything, but there's a lot of prioritization that needs to happen. And that means communication around the entire team. That means talking to everybody that works here, getting everyone's ideas, opinions, and then basically taking those ideas, opinions, and making them actionable. And that takes time, but we're doing it. So BizDev news, I think you'll have so much of it early next year that I might have to do a complete AMA just for you, Bjorn, on BizDev. How quaint would that be? Just me and you, buddy. Hey, Kev, do you think the KYC verification process could ever be automated? Keep up the good work. To a certain extent, yes. So the problem, the great thing about automation is, it's automated. So you don't need anybody to look at it. You need people to audit it. So you still need people that are going to go through on a, depending on how you're auditing, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually basis, and cherry pick different profiles to make sure that the system is actually following the rules, and then adjust the rules based on a myriad of different reasons. The bad thing is that while there are stupid criminals, and there are a lot of them, there are also smart criminals. There are very smart criminals. And so there are criminals that will figure out by submitting 5 or 6 legitimate or non-legitimate profiles what your rule sets are, and then model their fake profiles to get through your rule set. So in KYC, I think in finance, the goal is to automate pretty much everything. 99% is the goal. If we get to 90%, I think we'd be happy, but the goal is 99%, literally automate almost every financial transaction. And the reason for that is the onerous is really going to be put not so much on making sure that every transaction is legitimate, but to make sure the people are legitimate. Now, legitimate people also sometimes can be assholes and, you know, charge back after they bought Bitcoin because they think my credit card company will give me my money back, and, you know, fuck CoinMetro. That happens. Doesn't happen all that often though. So that happens probably in 1% of fraud cases. And in most fraud cases, it's fraud right from the get-go, meaning it's a fake profile, meaning it's somebody making multiple profiles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think what'll happen is the goal being like 99% of financial transactions being automated, and maybe up to 50% of KYC being automated, and AML and transaction monitoring. That is really where we need to, if we can catch 80-90% of possible fraudulent activity at the door, then the rest of the team is going to be able to focus on lots of other cool stuff and not necessarily having to dig in because, you know, checking out to see if somebody's 3 XRP withdraw doesn't trigger some alert. And we want to, that's what we want to do. We want to do that because it allow our teams to do a lot, like I said, a lot of different things, a lot of cool things, and make sure that our systems are constantly updated, and make sure that, you know, those and put in that audit functionality, which they would spend time on, but it wouldn't delay a customer's experience, right? So if we have 99% of financial transactions automated, and we have someone that needs to be checked, they can be checked behind the scenes without affecting their user experience until there's a reason, an actual reason, a real reason, a verified reason, an investigated reason to freeze their account or lock withdrawals, et cetera. So that is the goal. That's the overarching goal until the end of next year. It may seem like a really long time. I mean, if you're like 20, it's a really long time, just regardless. A year and a half sounds like a fucking really long time. To me, that seems like, I think next Tuesday we'll be there already. But the point is that it's actually not. It probably will take us 2 to 3 years to really get our current kind of entirety of our back office, and I don't mean back office as in just transaction, I mean back office as in our system, our admin system, to the point where it's, let's say, on par with the best admin systems at financial companies in the world. It's going to take, we already have a very robust system. It's been put together in pieces as we needed it. And now we need to go back and really put some work into that as a product. Look at it as a product, not as an internal tool, because it is a product. It's probably one of our most important products. Anyway, so that process is coming. And to answer your question, which I answered, I think, in 3 seconds, and then went on to this 45-minute explanation, KYC verification will be somewhat automated, absolutely. Hey, Brian, nice to see you. Any Quant news? It's more expensive than it was a couple months ago. Outside of that, no Quant news. We're definitely still thinking about running gateways. Outside of that, though, don't really have much Quant news. If you have a question about Quant, though, if there's a specific question behind that news question, please let me know. KDA staking in the near future? That's up to KDA and how quick they get their bridges on mainnet. In the AMA that I did with Stuart Popejoy, their CEO, I believe it seemed to me end of this year was where they were targeting to get those at least one bridge and then consecutively other bridges online. Once they get those bridges online, they actually earn revenue to pay for staking. Right now they're paying out of treasury, and they've limited that to, but what they limited for us to 6 million KDA, which we hit the first day we opened staking. So it's coming, and I guess near future is probably pretty accurate, but it really depends on how quick they get on mainnet with those bridges. Can you give us any details about the marketing for XCM? They want to be. Sure. So I'd have to start from the beginning. This might be a long answer. So if anybody wants to go get some popcorn, make a sandwich, and doesn't want to hear this, have at it. It's going to take a while. So there's been, actually the other day I was in Telegram. I don't know if all you were in Telegram. Some of you definitely were. And somebody was telling me that we treat, meaning we as in CoinMetro, treat XCM like trash. It was trash, garbage, or shit. I don't remember which one. They're all pretty much the same. I don't know if it's any better to treat something like shit or garbage. I don't know. It depends on the garbage, I guess. What if the garbage was a bunch of shit? I don't know. So anyway, that was what was thrown out, and I thought that was quite ridiculous. Actually, I thought it was really ridiculous. And I think that comment came from maybe a bit of frustration. When you're in these little quasi bull bubbles where you see assets like BXV, or you see assets like, well, a lot of other assets. BXV popped into my head because it's one of the ones that have moved quite significantly in the past. You think that, why isn't XCM doing the same thing? This company does great things, and CEO does AMAs every Friday. Their customer service is amazing. And even though they're a bit slower than they were, it's still better than any other exchange. And why isn't it going anywhere? It's because they're not mentioning it. It's because they're not out there like everybody else paying for TikTok videos. So some guy, Ramon, can say CoinMetro and dance to, like, I don't know, a Madonna song. Yeah, I don't know if that's really the case, to be honest. I think at the end of the day, what we do for XCM marketing, well, XCM marketing is CoinMetro marketing. CoinMetro marketing is XCM marketing. They do go hand in hand. When you market the company and people come here and they buy Bitcoin and they see what other assets, they go, XCM, what's that? Yes, there's not a ton of information yet because the XCM page, which has kind of become a meme, isn't ready yet, but I promise you it will get ready sometime before the end of the year. We'll do it. And it'll be much better than what it would have been if we launched it as is months back. The feeling is that, that's the reason why nobody's buying XCM. I haven't checked the numbers, and I need to actually put some mixed panel graphs together, see if I can get some of this data. But there definitely is still a decent percentage of incoming users that buy XCM. Now, they may buy less XCM maybe than they did before. There obviously our investor group, which took a pause from supporting the book, which is coming back in mid-October, played a role, that's for sure. 20 to 30% of all orders were hitting those investors. So it definitely did play a role. Obviously, at some point, we did our buyback, which everybody criticized afterwards, saying that we bought, at high prices and blah, 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 blah. But, when you do a buyback, it's not necessarily strategic. If you make it strategic, you may actually get in trouble with things with people like the SEC. Why? Because if you make it strategic and somebody can easily figure out that strategy, i.e., wait for price to dip to a certain price and constantly buy at that price, and you give away that, you kind of put that out there and you telegraph that move, then potentially you get in trouble with the regulator. Why? Because if somebody can figure out what you're going to be doing and they buy because of that, that's almost like insider information. So anyway, my point is that we've now started to ramp up on CoinMetro marketing, which more than we've ever done in the past. So not because we have an app. So now we're marketing in the app stores. We're also marketing in Google in the US, which is doing for quite some time. We have a more active profile in social media. The XCM marketing side is still a bit in the works, and it has been for quite some time. I know that, when people invest in something, especially if your entirety of your investment career has been in crypto. I talk to a lot of guys that are like, I've been in crypto, for a long time, 8 years. And I know about investing. And I always think to myself, yeah, right. No, you don't. What you know about is how crypto market has moved for the last 8 years. But that's like knowing how the equities market moved in 1875, right? It doesn't move like it moved then. Why? Because markets change drastically, and we've been through a drastic change, right? So my point is to say that we not only at this time, right, we have a lot of people that trade crypto, right? And yes, you can tell a crypto person, buy XCM, here are the tokenomics, blah, 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 blah. If you go to an average person and say, you should buy this token on this exchange because it's got great tokenomics, and explain, that's meaningless to most people. The same way DeFi or no DeFi is meaningless to most people. Decentralized, not decentralized, consensus, no consensus, centralized, no centralized. To most people, absolutely meaningless. Absolutely meaningless. I don't care. Just like most people don't really care about how many horsepower in their car, how much torque it has. You ask the average person who drives like a Honda Civic, how much torque are they having in their car? They have no idea, and they don't care, right? So we as a business need to look beyond this kind of, let's do this, yes, maybe price would increase, great, but we're in a long game, guys. This isn't a short game. We're not in this for a year or 2 years or 3 years. We're not in this to try and get the token as high as we can so we can cash out and go buy a Lambo and a boat. That's not why we're in this business, right? That is absolutely not why I'm in this business. When I look at XCM, I see a healthy asset. Healthy, why? Well, even with the reduced book, we have a massively reduced sell side, and we have an increasing buy side. Now, the buy side hasn't increased to the point where it's moving price substantially, but it is moving price. You can't say that an asset that was 3 cents at the beginning of the year and is now 25 cents hasn't had a decent run. Yeah, maybe it hasn't gone 3 cents to 400 euro, but it will get there at some point. We do have, we are massively undervalued, that's for sure. Awareness is part of that. We will be getting more awareness. And yes, XCM marketing will kick in, absolutely. And part of that will be that XCM page and renewed tokenomics around new products. But we need to do it. We need to do it in a way where we make sure, again, one, we have to provide the best experience. So right now, if we did a bunch of XCM marketing, we probably wouldn't, because we're already inundated with new people looking for other assets. But those same people, when they get a good experience at CoinMetro, buy XCM. That's a long answer. Hopefully I answered it. Hope you. Okay. Any news regarding Dubai? I will probably be back. I've been invited to speak at an event in Dubai on the 20th of October. Also was planning to go to the World's Fair, or Expo, whatever it's called, which is the 21st. So I think I'll take a long weekend in Dubai. I'm trying to now get a renewed meeting with one of the government-run kind of incubators, because we had a call when I was in Mexico. We had a follow-up call, but they booked it as if I was in Estonia, and they booked it at 3 a.m., and I didn't make that call. And then since then, they have been traveling. I've been moving around, et cetera. So hopefully renew that. And then on the fiat on and off ramp, the contact I have that works in Abu Dhabi has once again reached out to this fiat on and off ramp and told me that they have been very busy, but they will reach out to me next week. So I'm waiting for them to reach out as well. So there is still conversations. Things are still moving, not necessarily as fast as anybody would like, but they are moving. Hope you're well. Thank you, Huhumi Banana. Thoughts on Solana? I don't like it. I don't really get why I met some Solana guys back in South Korea at an event. Also had a conversation with a few guys, I think I'm trying to remember the event before that, but I can't remember. But it definitely South Korea. There was a panel with a bunch of different protocols. Algorand was there, Solana was there, there's a few others. Didn't like it then, don't like it now. Highly centralized. You can see what happened with if you look at the requirements for a node for Solana, they basically control all their nodes. That network is highly centralized. I don't see it competing in any way, shape, or form with a more decentralized platform, if that's what people are interested in. So I don't see it competing with ETH in that aspect, regardless of fees, to be honest. That doesn't mean it can't have a niche. I mentioned protocol wars in the past. They may find a niche. Maybe they already have a niche, but I didn't like it then, which means I didn't really look into it, and I definitely don't like it now. So price or no price, not a fan. Hey Kev, any new Microcap listings soon? Yep, there will be new listings relatively soon, probably before the end of the year. We're compiling a list now. That list won't be shared before we list them, but you will start to get more information on that once listings start, for sure. But yes, we are curating a list. Any beans you can spill on how many of these investors will be supporting XCM in October? Same thing, that same way they supported it at the beginning of the year. They will be inside the book. They will be supporting top of book price. They will be supporting price probably above the floor. The floor is 12 cents. I think they're going to establish their own floor. I'm not sure where that's going to be yet. And they will be actively buying as well. So they will have some funds set aside to actively buy. And when they buy is up to them, but they will be supporting the book as well. Great. You still look good this week. Well, thank you. I hope I looked good last week as well. That's thank you very much. Maybe next week I'm gonna look terrible. We'll find out. Actually, next week I'm gonna be at Money 2020, so we might not even have an AMA next week, at least not on Friday. Could you share a few beans on what is coming up about working behind the scenes at the moment? Waiting till 2022 is a little long without a bean. There'll be lots of beans shared, man. And I'm not gonna hold all the beans. Just right now, you gotta understand we're in a planning, so there's things happening. So there's execution happening, at some level, but we're in a very high level right now planning phase. And that high level planning phase is going to last a few months. In that time, though, as we're planning, there will be things that will start to be executed, and I will definitely spill beans as I have them. What we want to do, one, we have, for the size of the company, where we are, and the money we've had, et cetera, we have an amazing set of products and an amazing team, and we have an amazing kind of ecosystem. However, there are still things that we need to do to make sure that that amazing ecosystem can stay amazing, get more amazing, and flourish as we grow and grow fast. And that requires things like DevOps, that requires things from the DevOps side, from the SysOps side, obviously building out a larger development team, building out a bigger product team, building out a bigger compliance team, building out a bigger back office team, building out a bigger, you get my drift, legal team. It requires a lot of things. And what we don't want to do is what happened now is we were hiring already, but we got stuck with a growth spurt while we were hiring without having enough capacity to support that growth spurt that was already trained and ready to go. We don't want to run into that again on any aspect of the business. We don't want our people to burn out. I don't want people to have to be here, 2 a.m. banging their head against the wall because, some guy is waiting on his, 12 XLM withdrawal and he's just harassing everybody and they can't get to it because they have 7,000 other things to do. So I would say that's more or less summarizes. Also, 2022 is about high-level direction. We know we have 17 goals we want to reach as a company. Now it's about setting KPIs in individual teams to get to those goals, and that's going to happen over the next month or so. And outside of that, it's taking those goals, which are, I wouldn't say vague, but they're broad, taking those broad goals and creating very specific execution plan for how we get to those goals. So I will release things just like I ever do every week. We will be talking. You will find out things from me. Beans will spill. But right now, the beans are high-level beans. These are, 17 really massive fucking beans, the size, like bigger than my head, really big, like this big. And, as we move forward, we're going to get smaller and smaller beans, and I'll be chucking those out to you guys on a weekly basis. Absolutely. Can you please elaborate on how the price will be supported on XCM? I think I just did. They will be sitting in the book, at top of book, and probably a few tiers down, providing support on the buy side, support on the buy side, and they will be actively buying into the sell side. Do you see that Polkadot is using the acronym XCM for one of their protocols? Will CoinMetro defend their trade names here? Well, it's not a trade name. CoinMetro is a trade name. XCM is not. Even if it was, we would not win that lawsuit. Why? Because if they go and get a trademark as a blockchain protocol, and we have a trademark as a blockchain-based token, they can both coexist. So I wouldn't see either one really being successful there. So yeah, there is no trademark on XCM. And the reason why, you would think, wow, that's ridiculous. Why wouldn't you do that? Well, anyone can create an Ethereum ticker, and there's already a few XCMs, and there could be 1,000 more. And a trademark isn't going to change that, because that's what XCM is. It is a blockchain-based Ethereum token. Whether it becomes, whether we move it to another blockchain, whether we wrap it on KDA or whatever, Cadena, sorry. It's still a blockchain-based token, and thus anyone, maybe on some other protocols, they don't allow tickers to be reused, but on Ethereum they do. So for now, absolutely no reason to do it. It's soup, like pumpkin soup. Pumpkin soup. That's an odd choice for a soup, but definitely delicious. I actually had some pumpkin soup a couple days ago. Vegan, awesome. Okay, so there's fake CoinMetro coming in. Fake CoinMetro right there. Anyway, I shouldn't even have done that. Now they're going to take like a fucking screenshot and whatever. Anyway, that's fake CoinMetro, guys. Watch out. Fucking Facebook, man. You think they would push a button or something. What are the plans for Mexico office? Sorry if I was answered before. It's a purely admin office. So one of our biggest growing user bases is in North America, the US, growing into Canada as well, and South America, but definitely US. So we need people on that side of the world. Instead of running shifts here, we have to pay people more money to run in those shifts. And also it's hard to find people that want to work between, 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. In a support center. So staffing there will be mostly support, compliance, and financial operations. And outside of those, we will also be looking for devs and other things and other positions that we may be able to find there, because there is a growing talent pool in Mexico. There's actually a really good talent pool now growing in Mexico, out of cities like Guadalajara, Mexico City, etc. So, yeah, that's basically it. It's not an operation. We're not going to get licensed in Mexico and offer anything localized yet, but that would be something we want to do in the future. But the regulatory setup there right now makes no sense. I've explained this in the past, but the CNBV, which is in Spanish, the Comisión Nacional de Bancos y Valores, which basically means the SEC, Securities Commission, and the Banco de Mexico, which is the Bank of Mexico, have both created this quagmire. So the CNBV created a license that you need to have in order to operate a crypto exchange. They left, however, the power to dictate what could be traded using that license to the Bank of Mexico. Bank of Mexico came out and said nothing. So if you don't have the license, Bank of Mexico can't touch you and you can trade, theoretically, but the CNBV could come after you because you don't have the license, which they require. But as soon as you get that license, the Bank of Mexico can come after you because you're trading things that they don't consider to be financial instruments using that license. So until that changes, getting licensed in Mexico doesn't make any sense. Also offering localized services in local language, etc., doing business in the country doesn't make sense either. But the admin office makes a lot of sense because, again, growing user base. What's your favorite type of soup? That's a great question. I think, I mean, I don't eat like, canned soups or, I haven't had canned soup since I was like 10, I think. Or in a bag or whatever, ramen noodle. Well, the ramen noodle things, I ate those way past I was 10, but no, I haven't eaten them in years. And I mean, like the ones that come in the cup that like, you ever, those things like inflation doesn't touch ramen noodles. You ever notice that? Like, I swear to God, ramen noodle pack like 40 years ago was like 28 cents and now it's like 41 or whatever, 38 or something. It's crazy. I mean, what is in there that they can make it and it doesn't, it's like recycled paper goods or something. Anyway, my favorite type of soup. That's a good question. I think just any homemade kind of vegetable soup, I'm down. It could be tomato based. It could be vegetable broth based. Some beans in there, like beans in the soup. Do enjoy me some beans. Maybe some gluten-free pasta. Now I'm just sounding like a ridiculous person, so I'm going to move on. Do you think THT will follow VXV in growth? Not really yet comparable. VXV obviously has spent money to get that hype. If they do come through with some of their ideas in terms of data sets and they actually are able to really provide that link between the token and the data sets and using the data sets, they have a long way to go. Same thing with Thought AI, but I think Thought AI isn't really focused yet necessarily on hype. I think they're going down that road a little bit, but they're not there yet. Hard to say. It's similar businesses, to be honest. Well, they potentially could be in similar businesses, yeah. And AI can use data sets, and data sets can use AI. So they could even be partners at some point in some way, shape, or form. I definitely think THT is going to see some growth. It already has to a certain extent. I mean, it was 0.6 of a cent just maybe 2 months ago. I think 2-3 months ago. So they've definitely already seen a good amount of growth. Obviously, highly illiquid still. So that growth is easier when you're illiquid. As you become more and more liquid, it becomes harder in many ways to see growth. Though it can also become easier. All depends on the book and how the book is structured. But yeah, I expect growth in THT. I wouldn't compare one asset to another, especially when they're not, if you're comparing one automaker to another automaker or an e-commerce site to an e-commerce site, they both sell the same things you're comparing. You can potentially make comparisons here. It's kind of hard to make a comparison, but I definitely think they're going to see some growth. Did you settle the issue with those 60 traders in XCM? What is the source of XCM? Hey, Wannabe. XCM hasn't been distributed yet. No, we still haven't come up with a formula. There was a couple people again spouting off in Telegram about how, we were just giving away XCM, and is detrimental to the rest of the holders without even asking how much XCM. I can guarantee you the amount of XCM in total wouldn't move the book almost at all. And most people are not going to sell it. Some might, but XCM is our brand, and to be honest, all we have to do is sit in the book right after we sell it, and we might just buy it right back. So those type, just because I think what happens a lot of times in this business is that we are so transparent that when we don't give every piece of information on something and kind of just give top line information, people just make assumptions. I mean, wild assumptions, and then obviously assume those assumptions are correct, and then others assume they're correct, and then we have this back and forth in Telegram. So where's it from? Well, Treasury. It comes from Treasury, our Treasury. It's been awesome to see how busy it has been. Yeah, definitely. You should say that to everybody in the office right now. I don't know what kind of looks you'll get, but it has been awesome though. There was some negative feedback during the last days that live support couldn't handle all the requests, probably because there were a lot of signups. How will you handle that? Scaling. We already have hired new people, and those new people need to be trained both in that Mexican office, which isn't, well, since they're not in the Mexican office yet, but both in Mexico as well as here in Estonia. So and I've talked about that earlier too. You can rewind a little bit or slide back. You don't rewind anymore, I guess. Slide back this YouTube video and you'll see, or Facebook or wherever you're watching. It seems you're on YouTube. So yeah, there's some fake negative feedback. There's one specific negative feedback that was literally left by someone who used someone's stolen identity to make a fake passport, use that for the real person's bank account, fund their account, buy Bitcoin, try to withdraw it, and we stopped them. And they literally went to Trustpilot to complain. And this is a thief stealing people's money that was reported to us by a major bank. So hopefully that one gets removed from Trustpilot, because it's ridiculous if they're allowing fake people stealing people's money to complain that we didn't let them steal the money. That's just ridiculous, and I'm assuming they're going to remove that one. There's another one from someone that was in our chat support. If you have small children in the room right now, you might want to remove them. So there was a woman in our chat support that basically, I think the chat basically went like this: "Welcome to CoinMetro, how can I help you? Fuck you." And then the support said, "I'm sorry, can you give us some information so we can possibly help you? You fucking scammers, I hope you all die, fuck you." And that went on for about 2 hours. And the reason this went on is because someone made an ACH deposit, did not read the disclaimer that ACH deposits take up to 10 days to clear for us, and essentially tried to withdraw immediately and was told that they had to wait. And that made them upset. Okay, that's understandable. We are working with that ACH provider to try to find a way to streamline that, or to get enough evidence from our side so we can protect ourselves against fraud. Because you know what happens many times? Is people come in, they use ACH instantly, and then they remove the money from their bank account. And then when the ACH goes to actually clear, even though the money looks like it may leave immediately, it doesn't. It actually doesn't leave sometimes for 24 to 48 hours. And it takes up to 10 days to fully clear. We're told by the bank 1 to 3 days later, it's on its way, and that's settled, but on hold. And it takes 10 days, and they can still come back up to 180 days later and claim it back. And that happens quite a lot. So in order to protect against that, massive amounts of potential fraud, we have to hold deposits. We tried to explain this to this client, and yeah, all we got was basically, die a slow death, you pieces of shit, is basically what the response was in one way, shape, or form. And okay, I know people are upset, but so that person went and wrote a review as well. And there was one other that I would say is probably the most legitimate, but still probably not a reason necessarily to do a 1-star review. Somebody saying that, somebody was in the ICO, never provided information, came back after we had set a hard deadline in the business that we weren't going to revert any more XCM because we gave people literally 3 years to upload their documents, claimed that, I got the emails, but I didn't pay attention or something along those lines. We still made an exception because it did seem that his emails stopped coming to him about 2 years ago because he decided that he didn't want to receive emails, and someone in our organization mistakenly took him out of not just promo emails, but emails such as this. So we did the reimbursement. We made an exception. I made an exception. Next day, the guy tried to log in and couldn't log in, went and made a 1-star review saying we were going to take his money. Eventually logged in and sold his XCM and withdrew it in ETH or Bitcoin or something. Anyway, look, when you get a high level influx of clients, you're also going to get a high level influx of fraud. And you're going to get a high level influx of impatient people, fraudulent people, and people with some gripes. That's going to happen. So what's up with THT? Seems to be doing all right with me. I guess it popped to nearly 10 cents, now back around 5 or something, 6 cents. I haven't spoken to the guys. We're going to plan to do this, what do you call it? Fireside chat with the guys at Thought. So hopefully next month, early next month, we can get that done. Evergrande is the Chinese real estate giant that's about to collapse. 300 billion, 2% of Chinese real estate portfolio. Okay. Well, Chinese real estate has been a bubble for a long time. A lot of real estate built that's never sold. But since most Chinese companies are either state-owned or state-connected, they're able to just spend the money, and then they show these massive projects that China is moving forward and expanding the middle class, et cetera, but in reality, they're not doing anything. At some point, that's got to come home to roost. You know, when China was a big thing in crypto, when they were the biggest volume makers, et cetera, I said, it's 2017, I think, that's not going to last. The minute the Chinese government cracks down on people, the only reason people are in Bitcoin in China is because they want to evade the $50,000 cap they have on moving money out of the country. And once they figure out they're doing it in Bitcoin, then it's going to get shut down and Chinese volume is going to die. And nobody believed me, nobody listened. Well, not much fun. There's volume coming out of China for sure. There's volume coming out of Asia and China. Yes, there are, but it's no longer the lion's share of volume. Even mining now is now being affected in China, right? So globally speaking, in terms of economics, global economics, this is going to have reverberations. This is probably one of the first of several, or you could say many. Everybody, the governments around the world have been printing and paying out of, through their teeth. Real estate is one of the things that's going to get affected. Usually what you see in a crisis is exactly the opposite of what you thought you would see, i.e. home prices going up. And you think, oh, and then you're like, oh, this can't last. And when it lasts a bit of time, you think, oh, well, maybe everything's okay. It's not. That's going to burst. That bubble will burst. There will be lots of, especially commercial real estate, which is going to have a major issue. There's lots of portfolios around the world linked to commercial real estate. Also, with new generations don't want to buy houses. They don't want to buy cars. They want to share things, right? So at the end of the day, that's going to cause reverberations. Those people are now coming into their late 20s, early 30s, in mid 30s even. And that's going to change a lot the way people spend money. GDPs around the world, US, big emerging countries or established countries, most of their GDP, a lot of their GDP, or most of it, comes from home building, new homes. The home building, the construction, the sale, the buying, the real estate agents, all that money is a big piece of GDP. And that's going to start to dwindle. It's going to start to fall. And it's going to happen quite abruptly. So I would say these guys are probably maybe be the first big one, but there's going to be a lot more, and not just in China. What does that mean? Well, could be very good for crypto, but probably right in the beginning, not going to be so good anywhere. People are going to be on a cash crunch. They're going to try to get back to cash. But just like we saw in the beginning of COVID, where prices in crypto weren't looking all that great, people were going to cash. But guess what happened when they had excess cash? Started to come back into crypto. Thumbs up. Thanks, Jens. Yeah, if everybody can thumbs up, heart, snowflake, light bulb, I don't know, whatever. I don't know what all the emojis are. I was going to tell you guys a story about an emoji, but I'm not going to do it. Can we expect to be able to transfer assets between CoinMetro accounts? Internal transfers are on our short list. We're going to try to get that done before the end of the year as one of our executable low-hanging fruits. Will the Neobank services come in one shot or gradually? More than likely, almost one shot, but gradually more and more services, kind of like our crypto services. Exchange came like boom, and then we slowly built in other things into the exchange, and margin came out, et cetera. So I don't want to say gradually, because I would expect and hope that we get cards and IBAN accounts pretty much right away. Those are the core, and then we build in the feature sets. Yeah, so a couple fake people saying they received bonuses because they sent us ETH or something. Bullshit, in case you haven't already figured that out. Dear Kevin, Brian Ortega is asking for months about the Flux Snapchat rewards. Is it looking really bad from the outside that he has to do it over and over again? There's been a million times that's been answered, and the answer is going to be the same today, and I've answered it myself. We have the assets. In fact, we've now been back in touch with Flux. Flux was busy on a few things. We were busy on a few things. We have the assets, so we have them. You will get them, or their value. There's actually an internal communication starting from Wednesday this week or Tuesday this week, specifically with the guys at Flux, using their Fusion, I believe their Fusion integration to be able to finally get these things distributed. Right now we have on backend's plate a complete new fixed connection to one of our major liquidity providers, which is going to provide more liquidity, tighter spreads, etc. It's very important. I would say priority over this. That is now just about getting to the completion stage. Then there's two things after that. One is this, Flux Parallel Assets, and the other has to do with the Taro ecosystem. So it is prioritized. Remember, guys, we just hired 5 backend devs. Previously, we had 1. That 1 backend dev now has to manage and basically now head of engineering has to manage and get these guys on board and help them in their journey to get into the CoinMetro ecosystem and keep up with his day-to-day. So again, that's what I said. Things slow down before they speed up. Anyway, I hope that answers the question. I can't tell you Tuesday next week or Wednesday the week after or whatever, but it is prioritized. The discussions are in with Flux, and we are actively working to get this done. Yeah, okay. So, yep, I think I already commented on that, but can you tell me more about THT? I mean, I can tell you, like I've told you before, is that I chatted with the team. We had I think two great calls before the listing. Since then, I have kept up a bit with what they're trying to accomplish. Yes, they've been around since 2017. Yes, they did an ICO, just like us. They hit some roadblocks. They continue to build. They continue to move forward with their product and their offering. And we felt that there was a lot of synergy between the two companies. I still think that's the case. I know that they do have a growing amount of support, and even some of our investors in the near future are looking to support them as well. New mobile app is good. Thank you. It's only going to get better, but thank you for that. It's definitely better than the old one, and it's only going to get better. So absolutely appreciate that. Important question. When moon? I'm tired of being poor, Kevin, and you need to take responsibility. I'm sorry for keeping you poor, Bjorn. Maybe if you bought a little more XCM, it wouldn't have to moon so much for you to become a rich man. It takes money to make money, champ. I mean, that's how it works. Look, we're 3 minutes over the hour. I'm going to take 2 more minutes. I do have a bunch of stuff to do, and I have a meeting in 25 minutes, so I need to get those things done, or else I'm going to get shot. This is fake. Sorry. Also, what about the Austria-German XCM tier solution? That's on the list. Don't take this the wrong way. Not a super duper priority, because there's 4 people asking for it. We are going to do it. It is written into one of our Jira ticket, the Jira ticket system. It hasn't yet made it onto our current revised roadmap. We will do it, but you have to understand that if we take a week to work on that, it's a week of not having better liquidity, better this. It's a week of not having an income stream, a new income stream. It's a week of not, we have to pick our battles, unfortunately. But with 5 new devs and incoming front-end devs, et cetera, that's going to change. We're going to be able to move faster. So it is going to get done. Do you stand by what we said about FTX being a step in the right direction for the market after they have been accused of so much nefarious stuff? It's a step in the right direction, comparatively speaking, to Binance. But they're still unregulated. They still trade against all their clients. You don't make enough money you don't make the money needed to basically throw out $250 million on nonsense branding for, stadiums without a significant income stream that does not come from commissions. So they definitely trade against their clients. Whether they dump on their clients, et cetera, I can't speculate to. They do trade against their clients. So when you lose money on FTX, they make it. And I never liked that business model. So I'm not saying FTX is like a light at the end of the tunnel. They're going to have their own set of problems. Just like Binance is now having and will have more and more problems. FTX will get there as well. But they are one step in the right direction. Not 100 steps, not 1,000 steps, 1. Another bullshit post, sorry. On another note, great how you responded to all the KDA traders in the KDA audience. Exemplary CEO right there. Thank you, I appreciate that. I think I could have done a bit better, to be honest. I always think I can do a bit better, but I do think that we handled it. Now, not just me. I might be the face, but it's not just me. But I think it was handled as best as it could be and explained to the point, I hope, that it's understandable and that we aren't like FTX or Binance. We weren't trading against our clients. We didn't make a bunch of KDA and then take back everybody's euro and KDA. No. We didn't make anything, actually. Nothing. There was no one-sided trades. Imagine a trade that gets filled with nothing on the other side, just out of thin air. No price is available. No execution is done. Anyway, hopefully we strain. I appreciate that, though. Thank you for that. gonna roll on. This is the last question, guys, then I gotta run. How much did CM lose from the KDA accident, and how will you handle that? Right now, our loss is centered around negative balances that sit on a couple accounts. The nefarious actor, whether knowingly or unknowingly, that caused our system that balances liquidity between those Euro and USD pairs for KDA, it caused it to basically intermittently fail, then reboot, intermittently fail and reboot, and that was causing essentially price gaps and latent prices just being stuck in the book, and he was hitting those prices. Now that bot doesn't trade, so when it's not even online and a latent price is hit, there's nothing on the other side. So basically, somebody's buying KDA or selling KDA, the KDA doesn't go anywhere, stays in that person's account, and they also get a bunch of euros or dollars. So we were able to go back and systematically reverse all trades that were never matched to anything. That's what we did. And then we went back to adjust all balances because it did. Some people traded some of those profits. Some people did other things. Some people made withdrawals. So we had to move around balances to get back to zero or positive when possible. There is one major negative balance of about 100,000 euro, and there's another one of about 10,000 euro. Both of those accounts have asked for us to send them information because they're both disputing it. That's fine. There's a few others that are disputing as well, which we're also looking into, and we'll be sending reports hopefully later today to most of them. But we've looked at these accounts now multiple times. Now, there have been a few. We found some errors where there was a FX error in a conversion when we were covering a negative balance. So, errors happen. But in the actor's account, and I believe the other that are the highest negative, we haven't been able to find an error, though we're still continuing to go through the accounts, and reports will be sent to those people shortly. So roughly 130,000 euro, I think, is where the loss sits. How do we deal with that? We take it on the chin as a lesson learned, and we do better in the future. That's how we handle it. I'll leave it here. There is no such thing as a good problem. I know people like to say that. Oh my God, there's so much growth, we can't keep up. This is a good problem. All problems are bad. That's why they're called problems. No one ever goes like, oh, I had such a great day. It was full with good problems. Nobody says that because problems are problems. I mean, it's literally an oxymoron. There's no such thing as a good problem. But it's a better problem to have than having lots of staff and nothing to do. So for that way, it's a better problem, but it's still a problem, which makes it bad in its very nature. However, yes, we have inundated. At every moment, there's 5 to 1,000 pending onboardings, and no matter how fast we go through them, there's always 500 to 1,000 pending. It's great to see. That's why we need to restructure a bit and do things a bit differently, hire more people, automate, which we knew we needed to do, which we were in the process of doing. But there you go. Usually, success never comes when you want it. It either comes too soon or too late, right? That's what happens. Anyway, like being here with you guys. I'm 10 minutes over. I really need to go. Thank you for being here. Thanks for the questions. I think it was a good AMA. I hope I answered most of those questions. Sorry about this Chinese one I needed clarification on. I had actually read something about that, but the name didn't ring a bell. I think it came across some news ticker that I'm subscribed to, actually. Anyway, have a great weekend. If you can't spend time with your friends and family in person, masked up with a face shield or whatever you're doing, or no mask, I don't know. If you can't do that, please spend time virtually. Do some yin and yang, man. Get some family time in there. Reduce your stress. Don't look at crypto prices or look at crypto prices. You can make up your own mind. I know most people out there every 5 minutes are probably reloading to see what the crypto price looks like. So great. As always, when you're riding that tram, that bus, or whatever, you're walking down the street, make sure you scream out buy XCM at least every 15 to 20 seconds over the weekend, preferably every 10 seconds. I would appreciate that. Thank you. If you want to wear a t-shirt that says buy XCM, ask me about XCM, have at it. Anyway, have a good weekend, guys. Thanks for being here. You can tag me on Twitter. You can tweet me on Twitter. That's what you can do. Kevin Murcko, @KevinMurcko, or you can tag me on Telegram @KevinMurcko. Any questions, any comments, I'll do my best to answer them. If you're waiting on something from me, and there's a few people that I know I'm gonna have to get back to around 6, 7 o'clock this evening, if I don't get back to you by 7, tag me again. I'll do my best. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.